The knock came at exactly 2:13 a.m. Not loud, not aggressive, just 3 slow taps against the front door. My wife, Nora, lifted her head from the couch immediately. We'd both fallen asleep in the living room with the TV still glowing quietly in the dark. Another knock echoed through the house, 3 taps, slow, deliberate. Outside, rain hammered against the windows. Wind bent the trees in our front yard so hard they scraped against the siding. I checked my phone. 2:13 a.m. "Who the hell's out there this late?" Nora whispered. I didn't answer, because something already felt wrong. Not dangerous exactly, just wrong. You know that feeling your body gets before your brain catches up? Like every instinct is quietly telling you not to move. The knocking came again. Tap, tap, tap. Our dog Benny stood near the hallway entrance, growling low in his throat. That terrified me more than the knocking. Benny never growled. Not at strangers, not at thunder. Nothing. But now his fur stood up along his spine as he stared directly at the front door. Then, a voice. Soft. A child's voice. "Mister, can you help us?" Nora grabbed my arm. I remember how cold her hand suddenly felt. I stood slowly and walked toward the door. The porch light had burned out weeks earlier, so the only illumination came from flashes of lightning outside. I looked through the peephole and saw 2 children standing on the porch, a boy and a girl, maybe around 10 or 11 years old, both soaking wet from the rain. The boy wore a dark hoodie zipped all the way up to his neck. The little girl wore a faded white dress, stained with mud near the bottom. Neither of them moved. Neither blinked. They just stood there staring at the door. Something about them made my stomach tighten. I don't know how else to explain it. They looked normal, but not human. The boy spoke again. "Please let us in." Nora called from behind me. "Are they okay?" "I think they're kids." I unlocked the deadbolt halfway before something stopped me. The dog. Benny suddenly began barking violently. Not normal barking, panicked barking. He backed away from the front entrance whining, almost choking on the sounds coming out of him. That's when the boy tilted his head upward slightly, and I finally saw their eyes. Solid, black. No white, no pupils. Just endless black. Every hair on my body stood up instantly. I stumbled backward from the peephole. "What's wrong?" Nora asked. I couldn't answer for a second. The children remained perfectly still, outside. Then, the girl spoke. "You don't have to be afraid of us." Her voice sounded strange, too calm, too rehearsed, like someone pretending to sound human. I swallowed hard. "You kids need help? Where are your parents?" Silence. Then the boy answered, "They'll be here soon." Another lightning flash illuminated the porch. For half a second, I could have sworn their skin looked gray, dead gray. Nora stepped beside me and peeked through the peephole. The second she saw them, she gasped sharply and backed away. "Oh my God! You saw their eyes," she nodded rapidly. Then came another knock, this time harder. Tap, tap, tap. "Please let us inside," the girl said. "We're cold." Something hit me then. The strangest realization. They weren't trying to force their way in, they needed permission. And somehow, that terrified me even more. I stepped away from the door. "No," I said loudly. "You need to leave." Silence. The rain outside seemed to stop for a moment. The entire house became unnaturally quiet. Then, the lights flickered. Once. Twice. Then every light in the house shut off completely. Nora screamed. The TV died. The refrigerator stopped humming. Everything went silent except for the storm outside. And then Benny began crying, not barking. Crying. I grabbed my flashlight from the kitchen drawer and turned it on. The beam shook in my hand. The front door rattled violently. Bang! Nora jumped. The children still never raised their voices, but now the boy sounded irritated. "You should let us in." Bang! The door shook again. Bang! 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 Benny suddenly bolted upstairs yelping. I heard him crash into our bedroom door, trying to hide. My chest tightened. Every instinct screamed the same thing. Do not open the door. Then everything stopped. No knocking, no voices, nothing. I slowly approached the window beside the door and pulled the curtain aside just an inch. The porch was empty. The children were gone. I exhaled shakily. Nora whispered, "Are they gone?" Before I could answer, a face appeared inches from the glass. The little girl. Black eyes wide open, smiling. I shouted and stumbled backward as she tapped one finger softly against the window. Tap, tap, tap. Then the boy appeared beside her, both children smiling now. Too wide, too still. And then, every smoke detector in the house went off simultaneously. The shrill alarms exploded through the darkness. Nora covered her ears, screaming. I ran into the kitchen. No smoke, no fire, just chaos. The alarms wouldn't stop, and through all the noise came the children's voices. "Let us in." The voices weren't outside anymore. They sounded inside the house, upstairs, directly above us. Benny suddenly barked once, then yelped horribly. Silence. My blood turned to ice. "Benny?" Nora cried. I grabbed the flashlight and ran upstairs. The hallway was dark except for brief flashes of lightning through the windows. The smoke alarm screeched non-stop. Our bedroom door stood open. Benny crouched in the corner, trembling violently, and standing near the windowsill with the children. Inside the house, I froze completely. The boy slowly turned toward me. His black eyes reflected the flashlight beam like empty holes. "We asked politely," he said. Nora screamed downstairs. The girl smiled wider. Then the hallway lights exploded. Glass burst everywhere. The flashlight died in my hand instantly. Darkness swallowed the room. I heard footsteps moving impossibly fast around me. Not running, gliding. Whispering filled the darkness. Dozens of voices overlapping. "Let us in! Let us in! Let us in!" Something grabbed my wrist. Ice-cold fingers. I swung blindly and hit nothing. Then lightning flashed through the window. For 1 second I saw them standing inches from my face, smiling. Black eyes stretching unnaturally wide, their mouths opening too far. Farther than human mouths should open. Then darkness again. I heard Nora screaming downstairs. I ran. I don't even remember getting down the stairs. I just remember grabbing Nora and pulling her toward the garage. The front door began slamming repeatedly behind us. Bang! 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 The walls shook. The children's voices echoed through the house from every direction. "You invited us. You looked at us. Now we stay." We jumped into the car. I slammed the garage opener. The door lifted slowly, too slowly, and standing outside in the rain were more children. 4 of them now, all staring silently, all with black eyes. The garage lights flickered red. Nora started sobbing uncontrollably. The children stepped closer, one by one, slow, calm. The boy from before smiled. Then he whispered something I'll never forget. "There is nowhere you can go where we cannot follow." The car wouldn't start. I turned the key again. Nothing. The children kept approaching. 10 feet away. 5 feet. 3. Then Benny barked, loud, violently. The children stopped instantly. Every single one turned toward the house at the same time, and for the first time, they looked afraid. A deep growl echoed from inside the darkness behind us. Not Benny. Something else, something huge. The children slowly backed away into the rain, one step at a time, still staring at us. Then the lights came back on. The car started instantly, and the children were gone, just gone. No footprints, no movement, nothing. The police searched the area until sunrise. No children reported missing. No neighbors saw anything. No evidence anyone had been there at all. Except for one thing. On our upstairs bedroom window, pressed into the fogged glass from the inside, were two small handprints. Black. Burned into the surface like ash. We moved out 3 weeks later. New town, new house, new life. But sometimes, late at night, there's knocking. 3 slow taps, and Benny, who never recovered after that night, still hides under the bed, growling at the front door. Because whatever those children were, I don't think they ever really left.